We are connecting. Okay. OBS is live. Restream is live. Instagram is thinking about it. All right. Instagram is live. And Substack is live.
Okay.
All right. My computer is like losing its
Cool.
fucking mind.
Um, all right, here we go. So, hello everybody who is around. Um, we are live and we, I don't know. There's been a lot going on this week. Let's just say that. And I'd work with the work that we do, but also in the world and on the planet. It's just been a lot. Um, but it's Wednesday, so we're here again. Um, I guess the first sort of order of business, Rob, is like, are we doing find of the week?
Have people turned in things for Find of the Week? Because I mean, if people have turned in things, then we should do Find of the Week. But I mean, if no one's turned in anything, then we probably shouldn't do it. And then y'all should turn in things.
Yeah, I mean, like I think last time we got a couple of links in the chat. Oh, Chantal, hi. Welcome.
Hey,
But yeah,
Chantal.
last time I think we got a couple of links in the chat
Hmm.
for like Publer, I think was for the social media. It
Right.
was like a social media scheduling tool. Um, there's the other thing Grace shared too, not on inbox zero.
Oh, is the with the F free blocks of time F pot
Yes, FTO, FPOT, FPOT.
F
Hi,
pot.
Chantal, how's it going? Glad you're here.
Yeah, always glad to see y'all.
Yeah, let us know if you're dealing with any tech things this week. We're happy to talk about it. And yeah, so okay, well, I don't know if we're gonna do find of the week. I do get some interesting tech things that people want to get like a second opinion on. Um, but if it's not like really useful for everybody, like I think we don't need to do it. Yeah, and then let's just see what we have for this week. I guess one of the things that I am sort of practicing this week is keeping my Gmail under control from the Unfrick Your Gmail workshop a few weeks ago. And one of the participants said she got her inbox down from 19,000 unread. I think she's down at like 9,000 unread now, so that's a huge win. And yeah, so we're thinking of doing these like once a month, sort of tech co-working sessions for free, like no cost. Because it helps us too, because we find out like what everyone's dealing with. Because like today we were trying to use Riverside to go live instead
Okay.
of the Substack app, and we ran into some issues trying to go live with Riverside because the video quality is better in Riverside. So for our reels, when we're generating our reels, we want the highest resolution of the video that we can get. And Zoom is limited in its capabilities. And you actually have to you have to like email the customer service at Zoom for them to unlock the higher resolution thing, which I did, and they unlocked it for me, and it's still not high enough resolution for the reels that we make. So it bothers me when I see our reels because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such bad quality.
Well,
So I
some of
wanted to try
that
to use
has to do with
Riverside.
Substack too, because we
Some of
are
what?
we are we are passing this through Restream, OBS, and Substack. OBS should not be degrading the quality, but
Yeah.
Substack and Instagram might, as they are kind of the endpoint. And when we get our actual recording
Yeah.
to do the stuff, we grab the Substack video, which
Yeah.
I think is 720.
Yeah, and like, should I just record Zoom? You want me to try that?
Maybe.
Let me just try
I would
that
be
this
interested
time.
to see what form factor it puts in.
Yeah, because I'm really like, I feel like I think,
Recording in progress.
with like an online business, which like I think every business, even if you're an in-person business, like you're an online business, like there is no, I don't think you can like succeed without being online basically these days. But yeah, like getting the right like video quality has been like a big thing for me, figuring that out for the podcast and also kind of for this, whatever we're doing here, weekly session, we talk about tech.
We're
Um,
generating content.
we're generating content. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but also one of the things that I've discovered is, well, yeah, generating content. I guess that's all we're doing. I don't know. I feel like every week people send me things or I discover things and I need to make sense of them. And so I put them in that channel um, to kind of like, yeah, just understand kind of some of those things. But
Yeah. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about kind of what Riverside does and why people might be interested in it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So Riverside is like a video recording like software. Um, I mean, it is software, but it's like anyway. So basically, it can help you record really high quality videos. So you have like a studio in there, and I've been really liking the quality that's come out of there versus Zoom. So I've been using it, and it also has some video editing features, and it splits everything out into multiple tracks, so it can be really easy for you to edit it later in like a more intense video editor if you need to, like Adobe Premiere or something. So it's been good, I think. But yeah, I am like wondering like what is the point of these lives too? Because sorry, going back to the other thing, my brain is still stuck there. So like what are we doing here? Like what I mean, I guess originally I thought that people would come on to the live and like ask their tech questions
Mm-hmm.
and then we'd help them. Like that was the original point, but now you're saying like it's kind of just we're just making content off of it. Like we go live and then make content off of the live. Like do you think that's all we're really doing?
I mean, we still should encourage people to show up and ask questions. Like I think that is really useful. Or I think it's also a way for us to disseminate information. You know, like when we found out, oh, you can call Google. That was interesting information. So like we sent that to people. We're like, hey, did you know you can call Google? And then now they know. You get a workspace account, you can call Google. Um, yeah, and then we talk about AI stuff and things like that. There's yeah, but it's to me is just kind of a place to just talk about things that are going on in the world of tech and how it might affect people. And some of that is current events, some of that is not current events or things that already exist in the system and not a lot of people know about. But I don't know, like that's just kind of my take on it. And I find it
Oh
fun.
yeah.
I enjoy doing that.
I'm glad you're having fun with it. Yeah. Oh yeah, Chantal, like have you found out any new tech things this week? Like have you kind of noticed any new products or services or software or
There's a bit
anything
of a
you've like
delay.
discovered or run into this week? Because we can kind of screen share and like, talk through some of that. And I could screen share and show Riverside also.
Hmm.
We're not affiliated, with anything. Um, we're just learning as we go. I think the other thing we talk a lot about is AI,
Hmm.
theoretically and also practically. Um, and there were a few things that this week came up with AI. The other one thing that came up this week was with Canva. So let me just share that really quick, actually, because
All right, and when you do share, let me make sure it's settled before you start
sure.
going into it.
Oh, it's adding suggestions, which is annoying.
Hmm.
Um,
Are you
oh,
using
okay.
the
Chantal said yes. As a non-tech person, I don't notice lack of quality on this end. Okay, well, that's great. I'm glad that you don't notice that. I think for me, it's like a little bit of like just yeah, that perfectionism or like trying to constantly take things to the next level, quote
Mhm.
unquote.
And there is a higher
Yeah,
expected quality for reels as opposed to lives because live, you know, it's live, right? There's going to be little hiccups.
yeah.
Are you gonna
And I guess, oh, go
are
ahead.
you gonna share a screen?
Oh yeah, you were telling me to wait though, so.
Oh no, I was saying share it, and then
Uh,
once it's shared, just let
yeah.
me make sure it's centered properly before.
So this is our like happy tech file, but a new feature that I
Wait, hold on.
noticed.
This is what I meant. Wait,
Oh,
what is important on because I can't get your whole screen on here. What is the most critical
on the
thing?
right side of the Canva.
The right side of the Canva. All right, you got it. Go for it.
Okay, so basically what I noticed in Canva is a new feature. When you share and you add a collaborator or add like give access to somebody, when you click in here, they'll have like recommendations. Oopsies. And when you click in here, there's this thing.
Hmm.
Notify me when accessed. So if you share it with somebody, um, you can turn that on. Oops, you can turn that. Well, I guess I have to pick somebody, but you can turn that on and then you can know when they've clicked into the file and when they've actually um, accessed the file. So um, that may be something, useful if you're trying to project manage um, different things. I guess, and it is a pro feature. So just keep that in mind. It is like a pro feature. You can tell because it has a crown here. And then they do have a scheduler in Canva. Um, but the thing is, I've never used it.
Hmm.
Um, but you can Instagram business, Facebook. It has Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn profile, LinkedIn page, and Tumblr. So I guess we could try to convert to, yeah, let's see. I think I've already done this. Let me pause the screen share really quick as I log in. But yeah, if you're looking for a social media scheduler, we were talking about this last time. Oh, it says server error.
Uh-huh.
So, um, oops, stop share. That did not work. Yeah, so it says 500 server error. What was the 500 code again, Rob?
The 500 code, so these are HTTP error codes, and you might see them sometimes when something goes really wrong and the system really has
Okay.
no idea what to do. The one that most people are common with is like the 404, which means something wasn't found. 500 is what we call internal server error. And what that means is that you, as the client, as the person making a request, probably didn't do anything wrong. What happened is the server had some problem it didn't know how to handle when you asked
Yeah.
it to do the thing. Yeah, 500 server errors are the bane of web developers because if you're a front end developer, it means you have to go talk to the back end people, and if you're a back end developer, it means you have to fix it.
Yeah. Okay, so then I guess, um, did you have anything, Rob?
Well, I want to talk a little bit because it's actually kind of interesting to me. how Riverside actually handles and does its higher quality stuff. So when you're streaming, like what we're doing right now, we're streaming data that gets sent at a certain data rate. And for streaming, that data rate is generally lower because let's say that something went wrong, right? There was a flicker and some data got missed and a tenth of a second of my video got messed up. Not a big deal. Really not a big deal because it's a tenth of a second, it's gone. And now you're on to the next tenth of a second. So the quality can be lower. And that means we do a lot of tricks with the video like compression and things like that because the goal of streaming like this is just make it go fast, make it as fast as possible and get the data there as quickly as possible so that it can be sent to users. And what that means is that the quality often degrades. It's recorded at a lower resolution. It's sent to you at a lower resolution, which is okay because it's live, right? You're not really worried. There's occasional hiccups. And so what Restream does, and this is a bit of an educated guess, but this is my assumption, when they're recording the video, they're recording actually two videos. So they're recording the lower resolution streaming video, and that's what they send, and that's what gets displayed live. But then they're also recording the higher quality video without any of the hiccups, and they're sending that as a file, or with a protocol that handles error correction. And so they send that up, and then that is actually what you download, is that much more polished file that took longer to get there. The upload took much longer, but that's not a big deal because they've also got the streaming one to show you, well, that's happening in the background. So when you actually ask Riverside for that full clip, it can give you the higher quality one because that was recorded at max resolution, max quality, 1080p, really good frames per second, and then they slowly uploaded that over time. That's my guess. There are definitely some things that could go wrong with that, but I think that's how it works. But we could also look at our channel for this. Let's see, we have what is this? AI chatbots.
Oh yeah, there was that ChatGPT on the threads thing, which was like from your ChatGPT guide on threads, which has 1.4 million followers.
Wow.
It says ChatGPT can now manage your social media like an expert, $500 an hour social media manager for free. But it was really, I mean, I guess, yeah, we could kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, so this kind of reminds me. Can you share this particular screen? All right, we are connected to Restream. Cool. And Substack. Okay, Instagram is going live. I don't know what happened. I really don't. All right, cool. Substack is live. All right. Okay, we are back. Not totally sure what happened there, but the stream completely dropped. So, hello everyone. So let's take a look at this post here. ChatGPT can now manage your social media like an expert, $500 an hour. Oops. What are we looking at now? The narcissist is mad at us again.
Hold on. Don't read that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Here are 7 ChatGPT prompts that you should try. Elite social media strategy. Act as a $500 an hour social media strategist to scale multiple brands to millions of followers and revenue. Analyze my business niche audience, competitors, and goals. Create a clear social media growth strategy, including positioning, content themes, audience targeting, monetization approach. Okay.
Rob,
Yes.
I'm just gonna zoom out because it's slightly cut off on the, so just,
Oh, yes, it is. Let me fix that. There we go. Center that a little bit better, maybe. All right, cool. That should look better. So that's kind of, I think the thing that's funny there is when he says act as a $500 an hour social media strategist, it's a bit of hyperbole, but this is actually a really smart thing to do in your prompts Because if you have a prompt and you're trying to get ChatGPT to do something, telling it what persona it's taking on is actually a really good way of getting it in the right mindset. Because remember, ChatGPT and most LLMs are all about pattern matching. So if you tell it, act like X, act like a social media strategist, act like a programmer, act like a business development person, act like a customer support agent, it will be able to shift itself correctly. And that means that there's much greater accuracy in the later things that you're doing. The $500 an hour social media strategist probably is not super necessary. Like you don't need to say $500 an hour. It'll act. It's not going to make it act better, basically. Like it's going to try to do its best if you just say social media strategist. It doesn't hurt, but it's
Well, how
there.
do you know that?
How do I know that? Because in general, LLMs are trained to be people pleasers. And so their basic job is they are going to try to give you the best information they have available. That's kind of their whole point. And so when they're actually trained, they're trained using what we call adversarial generation and human assisted adversarial generation. And so what that means is that a lot of their training, they will respond to a prompt and then the human will tell them whether or not they like that prompt or whether it was a good response. You may actually have seen this if you're using ChatGPT, the free version. You may get that. Which of these responses do you like more? And it gives you those two responses. And that's basically what you're doing right then is you're actually helping to train it. You're giving it additional information about which of these looks better. And so over tens of thousands of those instances, basically it learns to filter out the low quality responses unless that's specifically what has been asked for. So, like I said, it's not going to hurt, but if you're like, oh, it's going to act like $100 an hour social media strategist, unless I tell it to act like a $500 an hour, for most things, it's probably not. So your mileage may vary though. The important thing here is at the very end where it says business details paste. That means you have to have all your business details. They're saying analyze my business niche, audience, competitors, and goals and create the growth strategy. That growth strategy is only going to be as good as the details you give it. If you give it poor quality details, you're going to get a poor quality growth strategy. If you give it really high quality details, you're going to get a really high quality growth strategy. The issue that I would see here is I would imagine most people who are getting prompts from Threads thread probably don't have that level of detail on their business to make use of this. So if you are going to do this, just make sure that the data you're putting in is really good. Can you scroll down to the next one? Thank you. Deep audience psychology. Analyze my target audience in depth, identify their main problems, desires, fears, motivations, and content consumption habits. Translate this research into clear messaging angles and content topics that will capture attention and build trust with this audience. This is actually a really good prompt, I think, because it's actually, assuming you're doing this in the same context window as the previous prompt, this means that the ChatGPT or LLM you're using has a ton of data about all of this stuff. And doing analysis like this, LLMs have access to pretty much the entire online body of written work that humans have ever created, which means this analysis is what they're really, really good at. So asking it for something like this, you're going to get some high quality response, or at least as high quality as an LLM can do. Again, though, notice how they're breaking these prompts down, because if you gave it the whole series of prompts, it would probably get a little confused. You want to, when you're doing a big project with an LLM, you do want to yourself break it up into smaller steps and run each of those steps independently in the same chat. So it's in the same context window, but guide the LLM in that way, because the more data and the more context you give it, the more chance it's going to go off topic and hallucinate things. So if you keep it concise like this is, then it has a much better chance of giving you what you want. All right. Authority positioning. Act as a top personal branding strategist. Again, good framing. We're now telling it you are no longer acting like a social media manager. You're now acting as a top branding strategist. Based on my expertise in niche, which it knows from the first prompt.
Can I
Yeah,
interrupt here really quick?
sure.
Or Actually, go ahead. Go ahead.
Create a clear authority positioning strategy that helps me stand out from competitors and become recognized as a leader in my industry. LLMs are not good at this because they are not good at inspiration, and they don't have that spark of creativity. They work on what they're trained on, and what they're trained on is probably very solid fundamentals. But if you're asking it to help you stand out, it's going to look up a bunch of articles it's digested on how to stand out, which means that probably everyone else has read those articles too, which means that those tips might not be as effective. You're still going to get some stuff out of here, but this is, I think, bumping up against the edge of what an LLM can do, and might be something that you yourself are actually going to have to do a little legwork on. Go ahead, Fee.
What I was going to say is just start a new chat. And I know there's a lot of implications for Earth that we're working through, but just start a new chat. Sometimes, if you keep the same level of prompting with either ChatGPT or any, you know, of these things.
Yeah.
Today is not
Today's
good.
not the day. It's okay.
Okay, wait. GPT stands for what?
Oh God, what does GPT stand for? Giant positioning laser. I knew this at some point. I looked this up. What does it stand for? Let's look.
Generative pre-trained transformer.
That's it.
Okay. So when you're using something like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, start a new chat. I say this for multiple reasons. If you've been in Gemini's Nano Banana situation and tried to generate images, you'll know what I mean, because sometimes it gets stuck on what it's done before. And even if you tell it, please remove these eyeballs and put in a tongue, it doesn't do it because it's just completely kind of like frozen. I don't understand the science behind it. So just start a new chat, okay? And yes, there are a lot of implications for Earth with AI. I'm not trying to discount any of that, but practically, I'm telling you, just start a new chat. And when you're trying to get it to be in different roles, try to segment your chats in a way that's organized. And yeah, I'm sorry, like, there's no way to get rid of being organized. Like, we have to be organized, okay? And maybe there is an AI out there that they're working on. Actually, let me look it up right now. AI to digitally organize everything. Apparently, Claude will do it.
Go Claude.
I don't believe that. Claude will help you organize all your files? Like, what? Let's see. Let's just have a little look-see, shall we?
Oh yeah, Cowork. I've heard of this.
All right, why don't we play this little demo?
Ooh, we're getting choppy audio. Your screen share is kind of frozen.
My screen share is
Oh,
what?
now it's back. You were frozen for a little bit. This looks a lot like OpenClaw, but like a more polished version.
Okay, so apparently Claude will organize um organize files for you. So maybe there is a way. Maybe I was completely wrong. And that is the first time that that has ever happened, ladies and gentlemen, because I have never been wrong in my life. But yeah, this is the prompt for Claude to digitally organize all of your files, I guess. Help me organize my downloads folder, scan the contents and propose a plan, categories and folders to create, how files should be sorted, any naming conventions to apply, files to flag for review or deletion, show me the plan before making changes, only proceed after I approve. And I guess it runs through everything and shows you what it's going to do with sensible conventions and cleans up months of clutter in minutes. So we should probably do a demo of this. Do you have Claude on your computer?
I don't have this. I use Claude Code, and I do have
Oh,
a
okay.
Claude Pro subscription. I don't have Cowork though. This
Is
actually,
Cowork another subscription?
I don't think so. But Cowork just came out like 2 weeks ago, something
Okay.
like that. This is a relatively recent. And like I said, this came out when OpenClaw was getting popular, and then OpenAI bought OpenClaw, and so they're trying to actually build something like this. And Claude came out with Cowork. I would give the same warning with this: is that be careful with it because AIs still are not perfect, and so do you? I don't know if I would give this access to my entire computer yet. I do actually trust Anthropic and Claude a lot more than OpenAI. Um, Recent news events have something to do with that. But even so, I don't know if I would trust this to just run wild. It does seem like it's a little less free spirited than OpenClaw. Like OpenClaw, it was just like do whatever the hell you want with no limitations to figure out some task. And this seems like it's a little bit more like Anthropic has always been a little bit more business focused, and they know that people are not going to want to install this on their machines if they think it's going to delete files. So it's a little more trustworthy, but still, I don't know. I'm a bit of a luddite when it comes to this stuff.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead.
Um, can oh yeah, okay, there we go. There's just a little delayed. Let me refocus that here. The other thing I want to say on talking about what Fee said earlier, starting a new chat and worrying about the planet. Starting a new chat actually is more efficient than keeping an old chat going. Because if you have an old chat, that context that has piled up with the conversation, every time you run a new chat, that entire context gets fed into the LLM. And that just makes the LLM work harder because it has more tokens it has to look at. Sometimes those tokens are actually relevant and sometimes they're not. But if you start a brand new chat, it's much smaller and there's less of a context window, so it actually is a little bit more energy efficient to do that. Um, anyway, yeah, so step 5, 30-day contents, create a 30-day. I remember we did a video on this before where someone had that 30
Yeah,
content
that was a
plans.
different guy. That was a
Yeah.
different guy.
Create a 30-day content plan for my social media accounts, include daily content ideas, post formats, key message angles, and the purpose of each post. I will be honest, I actually do something very similar to this when I get the reels. I take our transcript from this live, I put it into ChatGPT, and I say, please find interesting segments of this. Then once it finds that, I actually tell it, I'm putting this on Instagram and Facebook. Please get me like catchy titles and captions and give me some idea of what the thumbnail might look like. And then I promptly ignore what the thumbnail might look like and just do whatever I want, which usually involves like putting pictures of extremely surprised looking people under headlines. Um, but yeah, this is actually, it's really good for that as well, because that again is an analysis, right? Anything you do that's analysis using methods that are standardized, LLMs are going to be good at. 6, scroll stopping content creator. Create a highly engaging social media post for the topic, insert topic here. Include a strong hook that stops scrolling, clean, valuable insights, the compelling call to action that encourages engagement or leads. That, again, I would say is something that an LLM is probably pretty good at because the know-how and psychology around how to do that stuff is pretty well documented. So it can come up with that stuff. What I would say is when you get that, I would definitely edit it and look at it because you will get phrases in that are very clearly AI phrases, right? And I'm sure most of you looking at this, you know what I'm talking about. There's that phrase that you just, as soon as you see it, you're like, oh, this is an AI. This is an AI. I know an AI wrote this. Maybe that's fine for your audience. Like, you know your audience better. Personally, I find it a little bit of a, like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to watch this anymore. Just because, again, I'm a little bit of a tech Luddite. So, the other thing is look at it just to make sure that's accurately representing your brand. Then the offer monetization. Help me turn my audience into paying customers. Analyze my business model and create a monetization strategy, including offers, price structure, and content angles that naturally lead followers to purchase. Yeah, it'll probably be able to do this okay. The overall thing of all of this is that LLMs can do things okay. They can do it good enough. What you can really use that for is when you're just getting off the ground, when you're just getting started, or if you feel like you already kind of have a little bit of a handle, you just need a little bit of help getting over a content hump. Absolutely. I wouldn't structure your entire content creation plan and social media presence off of this. Why? Because everyone is doing that. These prompts are just here. These are not unique. I have seen this kind of same thing multiple times. Everyone has this information, which means everyone is able to do this, which means if you do this, you're going to look like everyone else. So use this as a basis. There's a reason that the people that are charging hundreds of dollars an hour for content and social media stuff, they're still around. And it's not because, oh, they're a dinosaur that refuses to die. No, it's because they can produce better quality. So if you put in the work, you will also be able to produce better quality. So use LLMs as a way to deal with the parts that you don't want to handle, but make sure that your fingerprints are in that as well, because it will show and your customers will reward you for it if they know that you actually are taking an active hand and not just turning it over to an LLM.
Yeah, and I can give a little bit of an example here. Am I sharing my whole screen or
You are
just that
sharing a
window?
browser window. Yeah.
All right, let me share. So this is Canva. This is an event that I'm helping organize. So this statistic I found with Gemini, but I created this graphic. This flower is AI generated. Okay, but it's a component. Okay, it's not the whole thing. So there is value in discernment. And we have to understand that. Even here, again, the statistic is from, I think it was Gemini I got it from. But when we went further in here, this is me. Can you tell when you're stressed? This was also me. So there, you can use AI as a tool, but it is not your entire solution, and it's not going to do the entire job the way that you can, because you are alive. And AI right now is not alive. And you're connected to life. And there is something profound in that. This was also me. Movement, meditation, sound, and spirit. AI can come up with something like this, right? But when I was looking at everything and I was composing this entire spread, I started to see things naturally and see connections naturally. And I started to focus on feelings. And that's really important with your content. Like, it's incredibly important. Like, Rob, what do you feel when you look at this top row versus what do you feel when you look at the bottom row?
The top row does make me feel a little nervous because there's like a lot of big numbers and it talks about stress. The bottom row, on the other hand, feels a little bit more relaxing because the colors are lighter, whereas also the top row has darker colors, which is like more sinister. The bottom row is also about like meditation and movement and medicine and what can we do about this, and so it just feels more relaxing.
Yeah, and I think that's something you can learn from AI, right? But when you implement it, it will be more profound. And creativity is healing. We have to remember that. When we create, it actually heals our bodies. And this type of digital creation is still creation. So the person we're working with, let me show you this. Can I pull it up? It is not at 100%, Lord. Okay, this is a print that she had on her fabric. She also sews and does different types of like fabric arts. And I put it in because she's going to be doing some animal medicine work for us for the event, and she's great at it. But that again was me, right? That was not AI, but that is a crucial piece of this entire composition. Um, in here, I was trying to feel melty. I was like, okay, how do I get to a melty feeling? That is something you need a human for, is the emotions. And when you're selling, you sell with feelings. You don't sell with AI. You don't sell with technology. You sell a feeling. And that feeling for happy tech, right? Like one of the things is happy, it's in the name, but the other thing is relief. Maybe we should have called ourselves relief tech. Anyway,
Happy Tech's so
but
much more fun to say though.
a lot of people come in here and after they meet with us, they're like, oh, right? Relief. That's an emotion. So even if you're going to a piece of technology to understand the process, you have to go to your inner world to understand the feelings that the other person is experiencing. And our emotions are surprisingly similarly expressed in the body. They've done studies of where people feel joy, where people feel anger, and it is quite similar. And the sensations are actually pretty similar too. So you can use your own body for your business as a guide without needing AI to do everything. And you can take risks. One of the things I've noticed is that we are so risk averse, and creativity requires risk because it is the most freedom you'll ever have in a decision is when you're creative. That is when you'll have the most amount of freedom, is when you're creative. That is when your choices matter. Every choice you make actually matters for what you're creating. And AI cannot give you that right now. Maybe they'll find a way. I don't know. But right now, as of March 4th, 2026, I really recommend using your body as a guide more than AI. That's where I've been swimming these days to try to put together different compositions and look at how much I experimented. Like, and it was fun. It's fun. It's really fun for me. This is the latest post I put out, and I really wanted to hit this message of our desire for perfection is making us lonely. This came to me from meditation. Now this language is out on the internet, and now it's going to go into AI. But we are the source of it. We are the source of everything it knows. We are the source, which means that we're ahead of it. We will always be ahead of it. I mean, unless they figure out a way to get consciousness in there, and then then it's game over, GG, everybody go home. So I just want to really affirm the power of the human and just really want you to know that giving yourself the time to be creative and to take risks is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's your relationship to what you're creating. It doesn't have to be painful. And there are different Buddhist philosophies and stuff you can look into. That being said, I am a very overworked person. I have a lot of things that I'm working on, and
Recording stopped.
Oh, you know, I kind of saw that coming because her internet was kind of being a little flaky. Um, oh, there we go. You're back.
Recording in progress.
um, but I was gonna say, like, I have a lot of projects going on, but one of the things I have been doing lately is getting help. Honestly, I've been asking for help. We have someone who comes once a week now. She cleans the house a little bit, she does some meal prep, and she leaves. And it saves me 4 hours every week, which is amazing. Um, we have a couple of VAs who we're working with, and they do work, and it's awesome. It just like gets done. Rob was handling an integration today that I didn't have the time to look at. And he went in, he looked at it, he told me everything. It's already in the notes, it's already done. So it's like all these little things can happen if you lean on other people too. You don't just need AI. We still need each other. And if you can figure out how to just make money from money or make money from whatever, yeah, go do that and then have money. Like I'm not saying don't have money, but I'm saying like what is meaningful to you? Is it meaningful to do a bunch of shortcuts and not know where you've gotten to? Or is it meaningful to know who you are in this world? Why are you here? So I really want to emphasize that technology should be working hand in hand with purpose. It's not supposed to create purposelessness. And I think we can use it to that end, as it should be used. And Rob would say this to me all the time. He'd be like, Fee, I don't know why it wasn't source code. What was it? It was like hard code. What was that? Like legacy? No, not legacy code. It was like some like hardware based code. What was that?
Um,
What?
firmware?
No, not firmware. Like how they used to originally code.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, with like plug boards and switches and stuff. Machine code.
Machine code. Yeah. So he used to talk to me and he used to share these stories of like how things work and why they work that way and all of this lore of code, which I care about a little bit. But what I realized from that now, kind of that I didn't really realize before, is that it's not that like something is lost exactly. It's like you have to remember a deeper part of existence, you know, and a deeper part of what exists, honestly. And you can still go back into it. It's not really like lost. Um, but it's not remembered and used the same way. Everything is built on that type of logic that came before what we're doing now. It's all even the roads that we drive on, right? Like I was reading this thing about why roads are the length they are, and it's because of horse carriages in Rome. That's why. That's why roads are that size usually. And now, if you're in the US, you see what's happened. We live in a giant highway. I'm done. I'm getting too much off on my soapbox. I'm going to stop there. Okay. Anything else? I think the today's stream is just cursed. It's a cursed stream. So I'm okay with any. Is there anybody in the chat or anything? Is anybody around? No.
No, we
Okay.
lost our chat when the stream
Yeah.
died the first time.
Okay.
But stay happy, folks. And if you're not happy, send us a line and we'll make sure you are.